today I want to show you two little tricks that I picked up from our customers recently that I thought could be useful for you as well. And the situation is the following. You see there are 4 different data sets that we have here, one for every month, right? So when I want to analyze this process in Disco now, then of course I can import any of these files. So for example, I can pick this January data set, and then I configure the activity name, timestamp, case ID, and then I can see the process map, right? But it's only the process map for January. So also if I go to the statistics, I can see I'm only looking at the January piece of the data, starting actually on the 2nd of January, going until the end of January. Now, if I want to look at my process across all of these 4 months, I need to join the data into one file. And we actually had an article in our data transformation series where we show 3 different ways already how you can do that. You can do it in Excel, you can do it with an ETL tool, and you can do it in a SQL database. And we show in the article each of these 3 ways. But it turns out there's even an easier way to do it, which is directly in the command line. And yeah, I'm not sure how often you work with the command line, whether you do that a lot or maybe not at all or sometimes. So even if you're not that familiar with working with the command line, this one is actually a really easy one to do. So if you have a similar situation, you might just try that out. And so the first trick that I learned, and this one I learned from David, is that actually I can open the command line in this particular folder in a very easy way. So the trick is to go here to the top and just type CMD for command, pressing enter, and this will open the command line prompt and already have me placed in the correct position, right? So I'm already in this folder, in this merge folder, which contains these 4 files that I want to combine. And so what I want to do is I want to combine them, and I want to put the combined file into a separate file, into a subfolder. So I first need to create the subfolder, and I'm calling it out. So let's make a new folder and call it out. So this is the output of this data transformation, right? And so now I'm going back to the command line, and now this is where the second trick comes into place. So Maxime found out about this and told me about it. And what it's doing is that I can type in and use this following command. So this is a version of the copy command. So you can see the copy command here in the beginning. Then there's this this parameter that we're using, and the star.csv means that we will take all of the .csv files from this current folder and we put them into the subfolder out, and then in a file called combined.csv. You could also do this with txt files, for example. Then the ending would be .txt and the resulting file as well, right? So let's try this out. So once I press enter, this is actually happening. So it's combining these 4 files, and let's take a look in this output folder. There should now be a file called combined file. There it is. So in Disco now, I can go back and I can open not just one of these files, but go into the subfolder and open the combined file and say open. Again, I make the import configuration, which is the same for all of these 4 files, right? This only works if these 4 files have exactly the same shape. So they should have the same columns, the same ordering of columns, so that they're really just concatenated below each other to form one big file rather than having these 4 separate chunks. And so we showed that how you do this in Excel, in ETL, and with an SQL database. But here, we did it through the copy command in the command line, just with one line of command. And so actually Disco gives us a warning or an error message, which is very good. So always, if you get an error message like this, you should take a closer look at what's going on. So for example, here it says that in line 8474, a timestamp was missing and the entire row was skipped, and this happened 3 times. And actually this is logical, and I can show you what this is. So if we open the file, let's take a look at the file in Excel, because each of these initial files actually had a header line, right? So the header line describes the name of the column, and then in the very first row you have the name of each of these of these columns. And then, of course, I have this now 4 times, right? So I have this for the January, for the February, for the March, and for the April file. And yeah, so this Excel computer that I'm working on here is a little bit slow. Let's wait until it starts up the file. And of course, so the command only puts them all below each other, right? So if I go back to Disco for a moment, 8,474. 8,474. So let's go to Excel again. 8,474. And go there in this particular row, 8,474. So if we jump to this place in the data, and has jumped to there. Let me scroll a little bit further. So here you can see it actually at the bottom, right? So this is the row, which is actually the first header row for the second data set that we copied below. So in this case, that's not a problem for us, because we actually don't want to have this header row multiple times in our data, and it's actually good that this goes just skipping the entire row. So so that's basically exactly what we want, but yeah, as a confirmation, we see the message over here. And now, so we can complete the import, and now again we discover the process map for this process. But we do this not just for the very first month, but we have this now for all 4 months together. So if we go to the statistics, we see that we now have the data set from the 2nd of January, but until the end of April. All right, so that's it. That's what I wanted to show you. I hope you found it useful. Thanks again, and see you next time. Bye.